The Montecito sunrise painted the sky in hues of gold, but inside Meghan Markle's elegant office, a tempest of emotions churned. The room was a shrine to her ambition, crisp white walls adorned with vibrant feminist art, a glass desk strewn with actual scripts, and a vision board blazing with quotes like "Claim your power" and "Break the mold." Today, it felt like a confession chamber. Meghan sat rigidly, her phone glowing with encrypted messages that set her heart racing. They weren't from Harry, her husband of 7 years, but from Tariq Al-Hassan, a Saudi billionaire whose oil and tech empire cast a shadow over continents. His latest text was order #Sias, Meghan, you're destined for greatness. Leave the past behind. Her fingers hesitated over the reply, torn between loyal #Y to Harry and a tantalizing escape. Across the hall, Harry laughed with Archie and Lilibet, unaware of the secret plan threatening to shatter their family, a plan the tabloids had seized, screaming, Meghan's billionaire betrayal. The headlines claimed she was plotting to abandon Harry for Tariq, and the truth, fraught with ambition and heartbreak, was more explosive than anyone could imagine. Meghan's marriage to Harry had been a fairy tale turned war zone. Since their 2020 exit from the royal family, they'd carved out a life in California, channeling their energy into Archie and raising Archie, 6, with his father's mischievous grin, and Lilibet, 3, with her mother's fierce eyes. But beneath the surface, cracks were widening. Harry yearned for a quieter life, content with charity events and bedtime stories, while Meghan burned with a restless drive to build a media empire rivaling Oprah's or Shonda Rhimes. Their arguments had become nightly rituals, his voice thick with exasperation. Why can't this be enough, Meg? Hers was sharp, cutting. I didn't escape one prize son to live in another, Harry. The tabloids thrived on their tension, and ex-posts buzzed with rumors. Meghan's outgrown him, one user posted, gaining thousands of likes. Into this fracture stepped Tariq, a man who saw her not as a duchess, but as a force unbound. Their paths cross #Ed 6 months ago at a glittering Dubai gala, where Meghan delivered a keynote on women's empowerment. Harry had stayed in Montecito, sitting Gia scheduling conflict, leaving Gia to command the room in a sapphire gown that hugged her frame. Tariq, with his tailored Bryony suit, chiseled features, a #Ndia watch worth millions, was impossible to ignore. After her speech, he approached #head. His dark eyes locking onto hers. You're wasted in this life, he said, his voice low and deliberate. You belong on a global stage, not in the royal shadow. Meghan had deflected with a smile, but his words rode deep, stirring a hunger she'd suppressed. Over the weeks, his pursuit escalated invitations to his palatial estates in Riyadh and Monaco, a sapphire bracelet delivered discreetly to her doorstep, and messages that spoke to her deepest ambitions. I can give you a world where you answer to no one. The tabloids caught wind when a grainy photo surfaced of Meghan and Tariq at a clandestine LA dinner, their heads bent close, her laughter unguarded. The headline, Meghan's secret billionaire affair, detonated across the globe. X became a battleground. She's trading Harry for a richer prince, one post sneered, racking up retweets. Others rallied to her. Harry's dragging her do #WN. She deserves more. Meghan felt trapped, her private turmoil now a public circus. The truth wasn't an affair, not yet, but a dangerous temptation, a vision of a life she could be the star, free from the royal baggage, and Harry's contented simplicity. Tariq's world promised power, creative control, and a stage where her voice could ho without compromise. Meghan's heart ached as she deleted his latest message, her fingers trembling. She loved Harry, their shared battles, his unwavering support, the way he sang to Lilibet at bedtime. But his vision of a quiet life clashed with her relentless #drive. She'd left the monarchy to soar, not to settle, and Tariq's pursuit found a spark she couldn't ignore. The tabloids' claims of a secret #plan weren't entirely wrong. She'd begun researching life as a single woman, quietly consulting lawyers about asset division, not to leave Harry, but to understand her options. The thought of breaking his heart was unbearable, yet the pull of freedom was intoxicating. Harry sensed the shift. He'd noticed her late nights, her guarded phone calls, the way her eyes drifted during their conversations. One evening, as they sat in their living room, the kids asleep upstairs, he confronted her. "Meg, what's going on?" he asked, his voice raw. "Are you unhappy with me?" Her throat tightened, tears threatening to spill. She wanted to confess, to tell him about Tariq's messages, the allure of a life without limits. Instead, she shook her head. "It's just work, Harry. The Netflix pressure." But the lie sat heavy, and his blue eyes searched hers, wounded. "I can't lose you," he whispered. The words broke her, but they also sharpened her resolve to to her future. The scandal exploded when a leaked email, allegedly from Meghan's assistant, surfaced on X, hinting at her exploring new horizons, with a prominent investor. The tabloids spun it into Meghan's billionaire escape plan, and Harry as blindsided. He stormed into her office, holding his phone with the article. "Is this true, Meg?" he demanded, his voice shaking. "Are you planning to leave us?" Meghan's heart sank. "It's not what you think," she said, but her hesitation fueled his fear. "Then what is it?" he pressed. "Who's this by #Billionaire?" She couldn't meet his gaze, the weight of her secret crushing her. "I just need to breathe, Harry," she whispered. "I need to be me." Harry left the room, his silence louder than any argument. Meghan sat alone, tears streaming down her face. The tabloids were relentless, with headlines like "Harry's Heartbreak, Meghan's Billionaire Betrayal." Ex-posts piled on. "She's using him and ditching him," one user wrote. Others defended her. "She's trapped in his shadow. Let her go." Meghan avoided social media, knowing it would only deepen her pain. Instead, she confided in a trusted friend, a former Suits producer, who urged her to choose. "You can't have both worlds, Meghan. Harry or your dreams." The words haunted her, forcing her to confront the truth. She was at a crossroads. Determined to protect her family, Meghan deleted Tariq's number, blocking his messages. But the temptation lingered, a why spur of what could be. She and Harry sought therapy, trying to bridge the gap between the IR visions. In their sessions, Harry opened up about his fear of losing her, s struggle to match her ambition. Meghan admitted her restlessness, her need to be more than a royal wife. The process was raw, painful, but it brought clarity. She loved Harry, but she needed to redefine their path together, or apart. As the scandal raged, Meghan took control. She announced a new actual project, a documentary about women breaking free from societal constraints, a subtle nod to her own struggle. She pitched it independently, bypassing Hollywood's gatekeepers, and began building a platform to tell her story. Posts shifted, with some praising her resilience, Meghan's fighting back. "She's unstoppable." Standing on her patio, the Pacific glittering under the stars, Meghan felt a flicker of hope. The tabloids could scream, Tariq could tempt but she'd choose her own path, whether with Harry or alone. She'd protect her children